Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. What I have here is a big old stack of comics. That this is what I've read since the last time I did a What You're Reading. This stack is probably a little too unwieldy, so I'll just cut it in half. There we go. I'll cut it in half, and I'll bring in more as we. Oh, losing lottery ticket. There we go. Damn, I have to go to work tomorrow. So you going? Well, as I bang into this, so how's everybody doing? First off, my comic, I got another sale today. I made it's clobbering time on Friday, and it was the Horseman versus the Punisher, and it was just pure comic book fun, fandom geek outness. I made it pretty clear that I didn't read the Horseman yet. It's a Chuck Dixon comic, and my buddy Mike really likes it, so I probably will be picking it up soon. And apparently somebody sent it to Eric July. He watched it and liked it, and got some attention. A couple of people asked me about my comic. Is it still available? So let's see if the sale, if that video gets me some sales. So pretty cool. No drama, just comic book fans. This is an open invite. If anybody wants to pop in, we're just talking comics. Praetor7 says, "What's up? I'm reading a book, old school. What you reading? What you reading? What you reading?" So again, this is a What You Reading. I used to do these like not live, but I kind of like the interaction of live. So again, if anybody wants to pop in, we're just talking comics. So I've been sick with some sort of flu. I just, I took, with the holiday, and then I took an extra day off. I just can't seem to get back to normal. I'm just feeling kind of dreary. So I haven't really been having game nights. I just come home. I've been avoiding my wife. She's now sick, so that didn't work. And I just sit down here and read some books, work on some scripts, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Praetor7. It's called 5 to 7. It's one of those hard case crime books. It's pretty good. Cool. Is it a comic book or a book? Oh, he's reading a book. He's reading a book. All right, so let's get into the comics that I have been reading. So this is the Mighty Barbarians #2. This is like a league of extraordinary gentlemen set in barbarian times. What company is this? Blaze Comics. I don't know anybody of these creators. This is the first time I'm seeing these creators, but it's like I said, it's Cull, it's Anastasia the Spider, Morgan Le Fay, and it was good. It had a good story, but my big problem was they had modern slang, and that just pulls me right out of it. You know what I mean? Like it's set like before the Hyborian age, and they're talking like Josh Whedon characters. That just doesn't work for me. Other than that, so this is I got a copy of Spider-Man Goes Mad. This is my favorite Spider-Man issue of all time. And when I got it, I didn't realize the chip was missing. So I had to get another copy. So this is, my damaged cheap reader copy. All right. Oh, I'm getting some comment. Hey, Nicholas Greer. I just got Nicholas's books. They're right here on the top of my pile to read. Tin Soldier and the Kid Fury #1 is it called? I'll be reading that pretty soon. Might as well show that now that I'm mentioning it. I thought I put it right here. That's the problem with me is I'm always losing comics. I still can't find my copy of Nick Cage Oh, geez. I got 2 stacks of comics over here, and I'm reaching on the wrong stack. See, we go. See, I got Tin Soldier #1, Tin Soldier #2. I got Tin Soldier #3, and I got Kid Fury #1. This is I got 2 stacks of comics over here. This is just like old comics, and then the other stack is crowdfunded comics. I had to make 2 stacks, otherwise the crowdfunded comics just get other stuff piled on top of it, and I never read them. So I made 2 stacks. Old comics and crowdfunded comics, because I'm trying to read all the crowdfunded comics first, you know. Modern slang and old timey books drives me crazy. Yeah, yeah, they're barbarians, but it's like, you know, they talk like they're in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Matt, what you ask what I'm reading? Almost all Image books. Cool. What books? What books? Yeah, they got it here perfect. Your comics got here without any problems. I just realized I have crazy hair. I'm reading a lot of Bronze Age DC. Cool, cool. You want to come in and pop in and talk about it? Because you know, here's the invite. Comic books are supposed to be talking about with friends. You know what I mean? We're supposed to talk about comics with friends. Those are good looking books. So if anybody wants to pop in, Nicholas, if you want to pop in and talk comics, what, Matt, what? Oh, you're working or you would. Okay. What do you do? So this is a Miracle Man annual. Miracle Man, it's got a real storied history. It started out as Marvel Man, and it was a British ripoff of Captain Marvel. There's no other way to describe it. And it was hokey, it was silly, and then they brought it back with Alan Moore. And I know Alan Moore is cool to hate these days, but I still love Alan Moore, and he made one of the greatest comics of all time. They brought it back to America, and instead of Marvel Man, it was called Miracle Man by Eclipse Comics. It's so good. And then for some reason, I don't understand how Neil Gaiman got the rights and sold it to Marvel. So now this is the first new Miracle Man material in a long time. I just got it now because I didn't realize it was new stuff. I thought it was like reprinted stuff. So I picked it up. It was okay. No big deal. Indiana, the further adventures of Indiana Jones. I am loving this. I am loving this. I got it. I got issue number 1 and 2 when they came out because it was John Byrne and Terry Austin. But I have to say, the snarky Indiana Jones dialogue without the charm of Harrison Ford delivering it didn't work for me, and I just didn't get it. But obviously decades went by, and you know, this is 1983, and I've been somebody requested I do Indiana further. I said I have issue number 1 and 2. So then I got 5, and now I'm hooked. I'm just liking these, just fun, you know, comics of a bygone age. Oh, here is the for Jupiter. This is I really like this comic. I think it might be in the stack. I'll talk about it over here. This is The Adventures of the Fly by Archie Adventure Series. This is the first appearance of Fly Man from the Crusaders. The Crusaders are just a team that I just always loved. The Red Circle comics. You know, the Fly, the Shield, the Black Hood, all those. It seems like they went to DC, they went on their own, and they're always coming back, making a return, you know, kind of like the DNA agents, just like the little team that just could. And some early, this is 1959 Jack Kirby. If Oscar's in the crowd, he'll be happy to know I went back to reading Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. I'll be reading 6 to 10. Look at this mental rabbit. You know, and it's charming. It's charming. It's an all ages. It's unabashed kids comic, but it's charming, and the art can't be beat. Now, total opposite from DC, we got Jonah Hex over here. This is Buckler and Giacola doing this. This is a circus. Man, I avoided Western comics like the plague when I was a kid, but oh my God, these Jonah Hex comics, timeless. You know, like I was just talking about how the Mighty Barbarians just banned me because they had like modern goofy slang and colloquialism. I don't know if this is the way cowboys talk, but it sounded like it. And you know, it is just timeless, brutal, violent. You know, it's amazing to me that it's the same company that made this. You know, it's so good. I cannot recommend Jonah Hex, this original series, enough. It is so good. Oh wow, I just noticed that the chat is going. Matt Watt says, I've been reading Ghost Machine and Skybound stuff, Salmon, Twitch, and Spawn, of course. My only other stuff is Space Ghost and Turbo. Sounds like good stuff. I got all the Ghost Machine stuff. I got to catch up on it. I got a stack right over here. I think I'm missing. I think 1 month I forgot to order, so I got to find out exactly what I'm missing. But I'm really enjoying the Ghost Machine stuff. I've been busted Jeff John's chops to come on my channel. If anybody has information with him, tell him I'm not a bad guy. All the Conan stuff. I heard the Conan stuff is good. I'm missing issue number 2, so I haven't read it yet. I just can't read the comics until I have them all. Hey, you doing, Edward Buzz Avicino? How you doing, peeps? Edwin, I'd love to do a crossover with the Shield one day. Yeah, I love those Red Circle comics. I love the Red Circle. Oh, yeah, I'm a fan of the Fly. Mike Parabrook run mostly. Yep. And I know you're a big fan of Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. I'm back to reading these. K-pop junkie says, "Sup? How you doing?" Oh, yep, Captain Carrot, my favorite. Yeah, Oscar was sharing some of his ideas for like true kids comics. It's a lot of fun. So let's get back to this. Now I'm caught up. We got more Jonah Hex. The Sin Killer stalks the high country. Spoiler alert: he's a preacher. You know, the preacher's always the bad guy. The religious guy's always the bad guy. It's never a Muslim. It's never a Hindu. It's always the Christian preacher. There's never a rabbi going around killing everybody. You know, that's I just, once you notice that, you can't stop noticing that, and it just drives me nuts. You know, just drives me nuts. But then again, in all fairness, like, Christianity is the major religion, especially in the cowboy days. You know what I mean? How many Muslims, Jews, and Hindus were running around? So, you know, it is what it is. This was excellent. A little predictable, but excellent. You know, a Luddite doesn't like the train coming near his town because it ruins his business. You know, a little kid gets caught up in all the nonsense. This I finally read. This is Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan, Scott Hanna. This is the Joker, the Devil's Advocate. The Joker gets arrested, and a brave district attorney is like, "No, we're charging him. No insanity, nothing. We're charging him. We're giving him the death penalty." The only thing is, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. So Batman is like, we could, you know, Commissioner Gordon's just like, let him go. Let the Joker die. Let the Joker get the death penalty. But Batman's like, yeah, but then a killer's on the loose. You know, if Joker takes this crime, then takes it, you know, gets killed for this crime, then another killer is on the loose. So I don't know. Have the Joker get executed and then solve the other crime. I don't know. I just don't like the Joker. And I understand the business of, you can never have the Joker get arrested, but to me, that's like the limitations of a serial comic. You know, it never ends. So the bad guys never get finished. You know, we got Wolf of Batsy number 12. I've already read this, but I did this for Sunday Comics, so I can't put it away till I talk about it in the what you're reading. I really like the Savage Conan. They printed in magazine size. Do I have that? Did I miss that? Could you send me a DM or anything of that? I'll put it in the comments. I don't know if I have that. Hey, John, how you doing? What Geeks Do Network? How's everything? How is the Joker? Been thinking about picking up. See Graham talk about it multiple. It's good. It's good. It's Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon. So, of course, you know, it's quality. It's really good. The art is good. I agree with Chuck and Graham. Why aren't they reprinting this? Why this is a first printed hardcover. You know, I got it before all of a sudden the prices started to jump. But what's going on? They, you know, keep this in print. This is good. It's kind of like they forgot about it. It's kind of like they're punishing Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. You know, this is Beck and the Recourse. I got to say, the art in this is like supernaturally good. I cannot believe somebody can put in so much detail and the coloring. You know, he does it all. It's so good. My only problem is the storytelling is a little confusing. Storytelling's a little confusing, you know. So, you know, you have to really like, what's going on? You have, you know, but the art is so good. I just have to take off a notch for a little bit confusing storytelling. Band of a Crow. This was excellent. This was A+ comic. This was the storytelling, and first off, this art is fine. It's like a good mix between Western and manga. Good story, good plot, good characters, and this when I say storytelling, I mean the ability to follow the story. Like a comic book, the art tells the story and the writing supplements the art. Sorry, writers, that's the way comic books are. And this art is outstanding, but the writing didn't supplement this art, and I was a little confused. This was perfect. This is how you do it. I don't know how they did this. It was like $5, $11 with the box shipping. Phenomenal comic. I got all the variants. Can't wait for the next issue. You know, they did a really good job, man. I This is 2000. I got this in July. I'm calling this the best indie comic of the year. Screecher. This is my buddy Nick, number 3. He's doing a good job. It just seems like he's doing his comics so fast. You know, I'm proud of him. I think he has a new artist for next issue. I had a slight little criticism that I talked to him about, just a little storytelling error, but I think he's doing a good job. You know, and I'm there. I'm there for the ride. I'll be getting issue number 4. This is so good. Oh, I just saw that the chat's moving, and I don't mean to ignore it. How is that joke? Okay, I already talked about that. Zach Tan, hey, I'm getting my blessing. Yes, thank you, Zach Tan. There's only 6 so far. I could to pick on Twitter for the covers. Thank you, please do. Thank you, Matt Watt. And that's funny because I keep thinking of Mike Watt from the Minutemen and Firehose. Student OG. Oh yeah, I got to thank you. That you did a little clip of my it's clobbering time. Eric July reposted it, and then a couple of people have been asking me questions, and somebody bought my comic. So there you go. Thank you. The Don. Hey Don, doing a lot of inking coloring tonight. Wanted to pop in the chat and say, hey, glad you're feeling better. I heard you're having a rough time too. I hope everything, I hope this is the year we all have a good year. Yeah, I just been so sick for the past couple of days, man. And the temperature is in like the teens in New York, and I work outside. Oh, it is just so enervating. I just don't want to do anything. Like I came home yesterday, and after 20 minutes, I apologized to my wife. She's like, "Why?" I said, "I just feel like I'm being negative and nasty." She goes like, "John, you're cold and you're tired, you know." So she gets it. She puts up with me, But I feel bad. I just got her sick, Graham said he does free sketches the first print run covers if you see him at a con. Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. Cool. Really? Really what? Oh, about yeah, Eric July retweeted, and I got a sale today from somebody that's a Rippaverse fan. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, Graham hates Killing Joke. It was a passion product. I don't mind Killing Joke. First off, I hate the Joker. So I don't like the Joker. You'll see that in issue 3 of Heroic Tales. But I don't like the Joker. He's overused. I don't know. It's just a character that I don't like. And I just want to see him get beat up. So, but the Killing Joke was okay. It was all right. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it as much. To me, it was one of Alan Moore's weakest works. It wasn't particularly clever. The art was outstanding. The art was better than the story. But yeah, no, 6 out of 10. And keep in mind, for me, Alan Moore stories are like 8 out of 10. Irene nailed that homage. Irene is so talented. I should reach out and have Irene on my channel again. I really enjoy talking to Irene. She's so talented. I sent the DMs on Twitter. Excuse the mess. Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's get back to this. This is Kurt Biasek, a crazy freak who, he blocked me on Twitter. I don't even know why. And then on Blue Sky, I reached out, asked him if he wanted to come on my channel. He politely said, no, he's not feeling it. That's fine. That's fine. And then he was just talking crap about Trump and Denmark. And I said, well, what is really a bad idea about obtaining Denmark, Greenland? And he blocked me. I didn't think that was too bad of a question. I mean, is it what's a bad idea about you know getting the territory, making it part of our country that's close to our countries? You know what I mean? I don't see what the blockable offensive of asking that question. But anyway, this is excellent. Aerosmith is absolutely excellent. It's set in like a magical world, like Prussian times. So like all the European nations have like old school names, and instead of going through an industrial revolution, they went through a magical revolution. So they have flying spells, and troopers use like magic wands and stuff. It's excellent. So here's more story. This is a troll priest. This is they found out that the bad guys have abducted a fairy princess, a literal fairy princess. They're trying to save the princess. I love when they play on tropes. This just like beautiful. So he volunteered to get captured to go behind enemy lines, and he finds out that it's like one of the lines to be king of England. So okay, let's Zaktan. I don't like Batgirl and Batman ship. Yeah, Batgirl's too young for him. Batman should be a father figure. I like Robin, Dick Grayson, and Barbara as a couple. The novel of the kill is a novelization of it. I didn't read it. Like I said, I don't like the Killing Joke that much. I don't hate it. I like it. It's okay. It's just another Batman annual as far as I'm concerned. Batman doesn't seem to have the resource to take advantage of that much land. Yeah, I know. Plus, I've always been fascinated with Greenland. Always been fascinated by it. And I have a couple, like many, I have many role-playing stories set under the ice in Greenland. So it would just be cool to see it become part of the United States. Colonization is bad, except when Denmark does it, I guess. Yeah. Or when Muslims come to United States, Canada, England, Germany, France, and openly admit they're taking over the country. Yeah. Cool. I could dig that. Plus, I think it would be better for the Greenlanders as well. Yeah. I just asked them, I know you don't like Trump, but what is the downside of obtaining Greenland peacefully? I'm not talking about going to war with Denmark. Face pink drinking tea, person blue speaking microphone. Okay. So here I'm Fantastic Four are my favorite comic book characters of all time. I love the Fantastic Four. I think I'm missing issue number 2 and issue number 3 and issue number 4. I think those are the only issues of the Fantastic Four that I'm missing. I have 1 and then 5 up. And I reread the Fantastic Four periodically. So the last time I reread them all, I just started buying more and more. So this is what I'm up to as far as modern Marvel. So what year is this? It says 2014. So I'm now catching up. This is also James Robinson. James Robinson wrote Starman, one of my favorite comics of all time, but he also wrote horrible Airboy. Don't take it aside. He admitted he hated Airboy and he took it. Don't just because you don't like Airboy doesn't mean you get to be like all dicky about it. Other people like Airboy. I like Airboy. So I'm kind of annoyed with him. So far, this is okay. Fantastic Four are on trial. Basically, they're justifying their existence. And it's funny, all the things I said as a little kid, like the Baxter Building has all these portals to other dimensions and rockets and stuff like that. Now they're being taken to court for all of that stuff because the safeguards go off and problems arise. And it's also the consequences of Franklin in Heroes Reborn. Franklin created his own universe, and then we just never visited again. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some long-term effects of Franklin's little universe. So I'm kind of liking all the touches to continuity. More about that later. Continuity in general. Okay, this was issue 1. Carlos Pacheco is the artist with this, co-owner. He died, right? Oscar, did Carlos Pacheco die? And if so, I don't think, because this is the setup. They escape from the Stalag, and then there's going to be another 6-issue series of them like fulfilling their mission, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen now, which is a shame because this really is, as much as Kurt Busiek's a freaking weirdo, you know, a liberal snowflake. This is an excellent comic. I just love this. This is so good. So good. Here's number 4. You know, again, the Wrecking Crew shows up to become the Jobbers, although it's the Frightful Four. The Wizard gets the Wrecking Crew to fight the Fantastic Four. And then the replacement Fantastic Four shows up, you know, the FF that Mike Allred drew. It again, I like all the nods to past continuities. You know, I just love that. I'm a big fan of continuity, and remind me to talk about that. Is it John Romita cover? Oh, why are the costumes red? Because Mark Robinson wanted them red because he's got to be different. You know, he fully said he wanted it. It's a different view of the Fantastic Four, so he wanted different costumes. That's it. That's it. So why are they? That's why they're red. I don't know. If I was to write the Fantastic Four, it would look as much like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee did it, you know, with modern artists. You know, like, can you imagine me and Renzo doing the Fantastic Four? How cool they would look. They would be in the blue, Oscar culling it. Oh my God. You know, so far it's not bad. I thought I had more issues. Before I get into Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, have you checked out the line of EC books coming out now? I think Oni Press is the one. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Please don't tell me more comics. Don't. Or is it the scenes like, no, they're red. They're red costumes. They're red. As a rule, they should not let people who don't like the characters write them, though perhaps more important than love the character. Yeah. You can respect the characters and not look like I'm trying to think of an example, but like if I don't love Airboy, but if I was to write Airboy, I would respect the character, respect everything about it. You know what I mean? Like, understand that somebody's favorite character is Airboy. I don't have the right to mess with that. You know, make up your own stuff. 75% of creators are weirdos. Yes. He died 2 years ago. He did the second run. Yeah. Well, Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco owned Aerosmith. So I don't know. Does that mean is it dead? Because there was supposed to be a third 6-issue series to complete the mission story that they're on. The first issue is Aerosmith joins the military, goes on a few missions. The second series is he goes behind enemy lines, gets captured to help a guy escape the Stalag. And then the third series that didn't come out was supposed to be finishing that mission. Are they still writing the FF? I don't hear about them anymore. I think they're still coming out. But I'm 10 years behind. Just dropping in to say I'm rereading my 90s Quantum and Woody. Cool. A dinosaur and a gal. What more could a guy want? And have a blessed day. Zach Den's like the Pope. Yeah, so this is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I love this cover. I don't know who did this cover, but it looks like Chris Sprouse to me, but it's so good. And I love this like stark colored. But originally Mark Schultz did a series for Kitchen Sink Comics. It was called Xenozoic Tales, and it's the Xenozoic times. Something happened. People fled underground. Everybody above the earth died. And 500 years later, when they came out from the tunnels, not just dinosaurs, but like every extinct species plus species that don't exist are so like everything that has ever lived and then some is roaming the earth. And we don't know why. And as far as I know, he never really explained it. This was interesting. They go into the swamp, and then these humans drank from the swamp water, and it like evolved them or devolved them, depending upon to these like brain creatures. And the brain creatures have these tendrils that they just wrap around skeletons, and they use the skeletons as mobility. Pretty cool. His Penthouse Comics number 5. I'll finish talking about Cadillacs and Dinosaurs before I get into this. Here's number 2. I love this cover. This cover is so good. This is more based on the comic, the cartoon Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, rather than the comic, although they're both based on the same thing. This is number 1, created by Mark. I have the rest of them, but again, my comics are getting out of unwieldy. They're getting unwieldy, and I'm losing stuff. This is Penthouse Comics number 5. I do not recommend this, only if you're a completionist. There's one story that I really, really like. Okay, so here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 stories and then 2 photo layouts. Okay, so the dead all have the same skin. It's a story about a guy who finds out that he's really black, though he passes for white, and then he goes on his black brother blackmails him for money. He kills his brother, and then he's going around through Harlem just like on a murder violence spree because he's black and therefore he has justified rage killing people. And this one woman takes him in the house and says, you know, you could you got to leave, you know, his money, leave, and he murders her. So he's just a piece of shit. I don't care what color he is, and I don't know if I'm supposed to like him. Gun Crazy is a story about a black stripper and a Hispanic stripper. They wear white makeup to dress up as white strippers in the Southern racist hillbilly Ku Klux Klan hating South. And when they sweat, the makeup comes off, and people know they're black, so they're going to be killed. So they get to kill Whitey. You sensing the pattern here? It's really bad. I Spit on Your Grave. I really liked it until all of a sudden you find out that this blue-eyed, blonde-haired white guy is really black. His mother is mixed race, and his brother was killed because his brother loved a white girl. So he's going to go and sleep with all the white girls in town. And then one of them finds out that he's black. So he's going to One Trick Pony. Miss October is the story that I really, really, really like. It's a story of in California. It's set like in like the 40s, private eye times. There's a guy going around killing girls and then posing them like the centerfold in Playboy magazine. So he's killing beautiful girls, posing them like Playboy magazine, and the whole town's like what's going on, and then like he can't deal with this horrible crimes. And then his daughter's beautiful, and she was like assaulted, and now she's deaf, and she wants to find out how. There's like all of these stories going. It's so good. I'm putting up with all the rest of these stories. And then Red Velvet is a photo layout of a horribly ugly girl with tattoos all over. She just looks dirty. I just want to take a sponge and clean her. Tattoos on women just make you look dirty. Sorry, girls. If you're covered with tattoos, you just look like a building with graffiti. It just looks like somebody needs to take a power wash and scrub you clean. And then Ammo is Amaranth. Amaranth. You get to see. And here's the funny thing. There's not even that. This Penthouse Comics, and it's not much nudity in it. You know, it's like they can't even do filth right. So there you go. There you go. Let's check out the comments. Logic's Finest, how you doing? Marvel and DC writers don't strike me as fans of the comic canon and lore. They're socially, ideologically warriors, masquerading as writers, making their own faction. Absolutely. So I might as well talk about this. I've come to the realization that I am a fan of continuity. Like, I love the Fantastic Four, I love Spider-Man, and I love Marvel over DC. And I couldn't put my finger on it, and I think I finally articulated it maybe a month ago, but I love this whole continuity. Like, I liked Star Wars until I realized the continuity didn't matter anymore. Like with the sequels, I realized, oh, you know, we could just do the Holdo maneuver, and that just nullifies 30, 40 years worth of continuity, because like, why can't they just take ships with droids and just take out, you know what I mean? It's just, once they do continuity breaking stuff, I lose interest. And a whole bunch of other stuff. George Lucas wasn't a fan of continuity. Doctor Who, I was losing interest in Doctor Who before they all of a sudden the first Doctor wasn't the first Doctor anymore, and the first Doctor was really this big fat black woman who's just can't even take 4 steps without huffing and puffing. She's really a timeless warrior. Yeah. But anyway, Marvel, for the most part, kept its continuity really solid. And even when they made little mistakes, they made a game out of it. Like, you get a no prize if you could fix the continuity. And then Mark Gruenwald died, and, you know, Stan Lee retired, and Tom Brevoort just trying to hire cute little girls because he's a perv. And the company just fell apart at around 2015. They had the second Secret Wars, and they basically said that was the end of the Marvel universe. So it was a good jumping off point, because the continuity. So I quit Marvel before it became identity politics and left-wing ideology and stuff like that. So I really like continuity. what's his name? The guy who played Superman. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name? He just The Witcher. Henry Cavill, right? Is that his name? He likes all the little details, stuff like that's why I love the Lord of the Rings now. That's like my continuity thing. It's following the list and the genealogies and which tribe was this and the elves and the line of the elves and the different. I love all of that little niggling detail. I love that, and that's what Heroic Tales was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a world, a setting, a place where continuity mattered, and it had heroes that interacted in stories. And I realized that not everybody is like that. So I focus on the patriarch. And that's what the backup stories are going to be, is like my continuity love, and then whatever. So that's so once Marvel just started to casually disregard the continuity, I realized it wasn't for me anymore. So there you go. Good comment, Logic. I like the old FF even with the oversaturation of future tech and media. There's a wonder to them. Yes. Fantastic Four, the first family in comics. Wonder, the explorers, scientists, family. They do it all. Superheroes, science fiction, time travel, family drama. They do it all in one comic. It's brilliant. There's a reason it's my favorite comic property of all time. And I feel like a battered wife. There's never been a good live action Fantastic Four, and I don't think there's going to be. I guess the answer was a cool car. I enjoyed the cartoon series of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Yeah, I like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I got all Mark Schultz issues, which are just glorious. I got them in black and white. I don't like them colored. It's the same with the Spirit. I got introduced to the Spirit in black and white, and now when I see the Spirit in color, it's weird for me. And these Cadillacs and Dinosaurs are like the more media friendly versions of the comics. There you go. I guess the answer. Okay. I thought that was a Penthouse at first. Well, yeah, Penthouse Comics, and they can't even do smut right. I do not recommend it. I just want to find out the ending to this Miss October. The Miss October story is so good. I'm going to see if I can find a page that doesn't have any. But I just love the art in it. I love the story. The beautiful girls are beautiful. So far the it doesn't do the virtual signal. She hires a Hispanic female private detective, but I think the reasoning she hired her is because she's so desperate for work, and she'll work cheap, rather than like girl power or anything. Seriously, how often do they think this kind of stuff happens? I don't know, but doesn't the editor realize we got 3 stories with the same basic premise? Like, come on. This Penthouse series seems overly racist. It's going to be the next series. Hey, Brian's here. How you doing, Brian? I just watched Brian's drawing. He did Batsy Among the Pumpkins. It was really good. I was watching him like draw. I know it was sped up, but he just takes that black line and it's so smooth. To me, that's like magic that artist could do that. So Brian, it's so cool that you could do art like that. As far as what you're reading, I just picked up Empowered Volume 12. Look like it's Adam Warren's last empty book empty book. Empowered. Duh. I thought you said empty. So he's crammed all kind of multiverse. Okay, cool. Now, when you say multiverse, that throws up a red flag to me. But Heroenberg, I trust you. One book I'm thinking of dropping is Rat City. Haven't heard of it. 150 years in the future of Spawn universe. 9 issues in and nothing has happened. And it's saturated with pronoun stuff. Oh, there you go. You lost me right then and there. John, droids are sentient. It would be unethical to have them do the whole. So then to have the computer do it. Have an AI do it. Have a computer do it. The Amazing Spider-Man animation is pure Gen Z woke crap. Oh man, tell me about animation. Animation is so bad. I haven't seen cartoon. What's going on? It's like they forgot how to do good animation. It's Rick and Morty invades Marvel Comics. Harry Asper's black and trans now. Peter Parker's yeah, no thanks. If you like niggling detail on the topic of Greenland, you'll love that the coat of arms of Greenland has 2 Woses. The Druidane of yep. I love that kind of stuff. I've always been curious about Empower, but never read it. continuity is so important, but if you want to read World Building the comic or read the adventures of the right, right. And now that Brian's here, I'll embarrass him by telling him I was, he got the first draft of Heroic Tales, and he was like, this is World Building the comic. It's not interesting. There's no characters. You need a character to focus the story. And he was absolutely 100% right. And I changed everything based on that. And thank God he did. Thank God he did, because I was on the way to making Godlike, a book that was all world building, info dump the comic, and nothing interesting, no characters, nothing, worthwhile that I could think of. I was about to do that. So absolutely 100% right. After Kirby, my best run of the FF for the Wade. Oh, that's a good one too. There's so many good Fantastic Four runs. After Kirby, I got to say it's John Byrne for me. The Walt Simonson run, and then probably the Wade Rango run. But so many good runs. So many good runs. The Len Wein George Perez run, the first John Byrne run where he was just the artist. I forget who the writer was. So many good. Hey, Joe Dog, how you doing? Speaking of George Perez. Oh, that's the new version of Penthouse Comics that recently started. Yeah, I looked into it and didn't like it because no superhero. Yeah, it's 3 out of the 4 stories are white people or black people who pose as white getting revenge because of racism. And now we got Deadly Hands of Kung Fu special issue Bruce Lee with a letter from Mike Baron in here. Mike Baron wrote a letter to the editor, and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Mike Baron. He goes, "Yep, that's me complaining. That was me complaining." So it was funny. Neil Adams drawing some Bruce Lee. And then speaking of George Perez, this has some of George Perez's earliest work in the Sons of the Dragon in the back. I skip over all these articles about Kung Fu. I just read the comic book portions. So the first portion has Shang-Chi. And then the second is George Perez doing Sons of the Tiger. And the rest of it is just articles about Kung Fu that I could care less about. Here's number 13, Towering Adventures of Shang-Chi. I love these painted covers. The scene does not happen in the comic, but I love it anyway. And here is Ghost of Matacumbe Bay and Two-Fisted Manly Tales, like all the stickers and cards and stuff. I'll put that there. And Joe Dog says, I've been reading Batman 395, Superman 196, and 240, the original Teen Titans from 19... Oh, cool stuff. Cool stuff. And again, in case people are interested, here is an invite. If anybody wants to come in and talk comic books with me, anybody wants to come in and talk comics, I jumped ahead. Zach Dan says comics seem to work best as middle ground between world building and info dump. Yeah, I agree. Also, it depends on the reader. Some prefer world building, some prefer info dumps. Yeah, that's why you gotta do your world building disguised as characterization and plot. Otherwise, I love the Silmarillion, but I know other people don't. And I got more comics. I got a whole nother stack. You should check out the Penguin printing of FF. It's like an artist edition to the best Kirby issues. Oh, send me another DM. Continuity matters to Rippaverse. Yes. That's what initially drew me to the Rippaverse. Was he like his like letter of intent and philosophy of comic book making was everything I wanted to hear. Unfortunately, I saw him number 1 and 2. I didn't like, and for $18, I wasn't going to keep buying comics that I didn't like. I bought Alpha Core, which I thought was a step in the right direction, but you got to all right. Now, if Rippa had just, whatever his name is, Eric, if he had just said, "Oh yeah, this is my first comic," so yeah, I hear what your criticism, and I'm working with Mike Baron and Chuck Dixon, and we're going to course correct and fix everything in the future. That's all he had to say. I'm not blaming him because the other guy's just unrelentlessly like a crazy person. But I tell you, Ripper is coming out like a winner, coming out, people liking his stuff. He's coming out with comics. I'm probably going to buy the Horseman now because my buddy really liked it. Thanks, John. I like the Burn FF run too. That's just, to me, that's like some of the best comics ever made. The Chris Claremont Burn X-Men the John Byrne X-Men Fantastic Four. That's the pinnacle of comic books. I don't believe Marvel killed two excellent shows like the Avengers Mighty Heroes. Oh yeah. The Mighty Avengers was so good. So good. I absolutely agree with you, Oscar. Yeah, it's hot, funny, and edgy. Adam Warlock takes a constant hatchet to feminist tropes while remaining sex positive. Empowered, it's called. Maybe I'll look at it. Like reading supplemental to the law makes sense. Yeah. My daughter picked up the comic bug for me. She loves the continuity and world building. Never wants the adventure to end like One Piece Magnet. Yeah. Yeah. Chuck Dixon said it the best. You got to create the illusion of change. You know, you don't want Batman to be a 92-year-old man. You don't want Spider-Man to be 60 years old. You know what I mean? So you create the illusion of change, and that's what you got to do. I also think you shouldn't be afraid to like get rid of some of your big characters. Like just don't have the Joker in a story for 10 years. I hate the Joker. Never have the Joker again. Sure, Byrne's always the best. John Byrne is my favorite comic artist ever, full stop. I love, hate everything he's ever done. Can't argue with that. As an 80s kid, I did not appreciate Kirby. Same here. Reading the original League Kirby I get it. Yeah. It wasn't until I think I was a freshman in college when all of a sudden I was like, oh, I get it now. Now, like, I revere Kirby. But to me, when I was a kid getting original Marvels, it was John Romita. It was John Romita. It was, and then George Perez and John Byrne. Kirby was old school. Now I get excited when I find a Kirby comic that I never read before. Again, here's the link if anybody wants to pop in and talk comics with me. Definitely can't decide which. Yeah, again, I always say it's like an atom. The molecule, the electrons rotating around each other. Ask me on any given day, I'll say Byrne and I'll say Perez. Some prefer simple and straightforward. Some prefer intricate and complex. Both are equally valid. It's all about preference. Personal opinion isn't a criticism. Absolutely. Absolutely. The kiddo has it, so I sent you a screen grab of Amazon listing from the FF thing. Thank you. Thank you. I turned off the notification so my phone's not dinging. That JLA issue in your stack looks great. I'm a sucker for old Dick Dillon JLA. Oh, well, that brings us right here. So I've been collecting and reading the Justice League once a month. I put in an order for back issues. I pick up another Justice League. Normally I try to get 5 comics at a time of a series that I'm collecting, reading, like that Jonah Hex, but they're $2 or $3 a piece. Just these early Justice Leagues are still a couple, so I'll get 1 a month. So I'm up to 14. Now they're starting to come down in price that maybe I'll get like 5 at a time, but this is in really good condition too. This is Adam joins the Justice League. They're charming. This is the kind of stuff I hated as a kid. I hated it 5 years ago. Now I'm like, this is charming. It's fun. Would I write comics like this as a goof? And I'm working on Eddie is Doomed, where Eddie reads Silver Age comics, and so I'm gonna put like some goofy Silver Age comics in the main comic. Speaking of goofy, this is Goofy Bronze Age. This is Spidey Super Stories. This is the Electra Company. Marvel Comics was like licensing out Spider-Man to the Electra Company as for a comic for little kids to learn to read with. Imagine that. Comic book company trying to hook little kids into reading comics. I irrationally hated these as a kid, but I also collected them because I had to get everything Marvel because I was a crazy person. So I would get these, and of course I had to read every comic that I ever got, and I would just like spitefully hate read them. I was a crazy kid with problems. Logic's fine. John, value of subjective. It's not my absolute that many use to justify buying or not buying. Instead, my disguised personal bias. And your value and my value are different. I absolutely agree. I don't like the Atom, in my opinion. I like the Atom. I kind of like the idea of shrinking when we role played the game, my friends made up two characters. One was Maxi Man, and he could turn into a giant, and the other was Mini Man, who could shrink down to subatomic. The problem was they couldn't really adventure too much together, because one guy would go into like the microverse, and one guy would just like smash kaiju and stuff. So, it was one of those ideas that worked best as a theoretical idea. But 5 years ago, yeah, I know. Who's your favorite Batman villain? Two-Face is interesting, while Poison Ivy and Clayface are among the most powerful. Who's my favorite? Let me get back on that. I like the Riddler, but I don't feel like the Riddler is like the original. The Riddler should be like a challenge, like a real difficult puzzle. I like Poison Ivy. I like Clayface. I love the ventriloquist and Scarface. I think it was Matt Bauer said that he wants to see Paul Giamatti play the ventriloquist and Scarface in the movie, and now I just can't get that out of my head. I've always hated the Joker and the Penguin, but I love Catwoman. Oh, Dragonfly and Dragonfly Man. This is awesome. This is Peter Krause is doing this artwork, but Jamal Igle does the regular comic. So this is Golden Age, Silver Age Dragonfly Man. It's all like Batman 66, so it's all hokey and everything like that. And he gets switched with, like the grim and gritty Frank Miller version of Dragonfly, and they get switched, so they're on the wrong Earths. So they're exploring all the goofy tropes and all the super serious tropes, and the sidekick who dies of drug overdose, the sidekick who's golly gee willikers, and then dealing with the wrong. It's really good, really good. I really like this. Scout, Tim Truman, beautiful, beautiful art. And it's funny because like it's set like 2025, the horrible future, because this comic came out, 1985, 1986, this cover came out, and then he's hallucinating and Bean World shows up. It's just so bizarre. So he's just an Apache going through like this fascist Earth, like the whole world has gone fascist, and it's charming in the fact that like it's set in 2025. It's just beautiful artwork. Pantheon #1. I did this for Sunday Comics a couple of weeks ago. Didn't put it away yet. Wow, it's been a long time since I did what you're reading. This is Bill Willingham writing it, Matt Leak doing the art, and Bill Williams doing the inking and the lettering. Bill Williams, who's the letterer for my comic. This is like unofficially finishing the stories of the Elementals. What happens in a superhero world when all the supervillains have been defeated? They start fighting amongst themselves. It's really good. Plus, the characters are outstanding. Heroenberg, have you seen Kirby's books? Yes, I got all those too. Yes. Love the Spidey super stories so much. I like them now. As a kid, I was just like angry. Give me that comic. Rupert Thorne is one of the more grounded villains. Spidey super stories was literally about teaching kids to read, like the Spidey skits. Yep. I mean, I wasn't the target audience. I was too old for it, but I still, on Lecture Company, only Generation X knows that show. Yes, the Morgan Freeman got his start as the Easy Reader. Is he still on the cover? No, but yeah. Easy Reader says this comic is easy to read. That's Morgan Freeman. Like great, well-respected actor, started as the Easy Reader. Spidey super stories are awesome. It's the pure fun of Spider-Man boiled down to its simplest form. Perfect for little kids. Can't argue with that. Hey, you guys. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, that's how the Lecture Company started. With Rita Moreno, who was like the, touted in the 50s and 60s as like the Hispanic Elizabeth Taylor. She was like the act like, so she was lending her tremendous talents to the Lecture Company. And sometimes you just like, there's a couple of scenes where she's just singing and you're like, she's belting it out, and everybody else is just being like goofy and pantomiming around. And then you got Morgan Freeman just walking down the street, reading street signs and magazines because he's the Easy Reader, just walking around. It's fun. I like the Lecture Company better than Sesame Street. especially the cutscenes, like take a breath, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ladybugs came to the Ladybug picnic. My favorite Batman villain is Mr. Freeze. I like Mr. Freeze. He's the only one who didn't seem like a true psychopath. Yep. Poison Ivy always seems so badly written. Let's stand while the giant vines attack at a nowhere villain. Yeah. I you'll see I have a Poison Ivy homage character coming up in issue 4. She's going to be part of she's going to be part of Regina's story, the love struck reporter that follows around the patriarch. I actually found Spider-Man on the Electric Company around 19. Yeah, they called him Spidey. If you love Catwoman, I have a female who could compete with her. Cool. What's her name? Kitten Woman? Easy reader. True, Matt. I hear Mr. Freeze was greatly impacted by his anime. Yeah, the Sub-Zero cartoon movie is awesome. I wonder if writing superhero stories as novels, not comics, is sound strategy. I never read a comic book novel. I have a few. I just bought them and never read them. I don't know. I think comic books are the best medium for superheroes. Sounds like one of the better setups for superheroes to fight each other, different philosophies. Yep. This is really good. Lone Star Comics. Really good. Magpie. That's your character. Okay. This is Punchline. Tomorrow Girl. So Punchline and Tomorrow Girl team up. This is Bill Williams writes Punchline. Such a good comic. Jupiter, right, by Sandberg Publishing. This is number 1. I ordered the first run of Jupiter. It's like I said to him, Jason Sandberg, I said, this is really good. It was only confusing when I was supposed to be confused. And he said he liked that. But it's a continuation of those Captain Victory Pacific Comic DC Jack Kirby comics. So it's just imagine that Jason Sandberg is continuing those Pacific comic Jack Kirby comics. It's really good. Atari Force, a comic that is so much better than its premise demands. We're going to make a comic book based on not just a computer game, but the entire console and system. What does it have? That doesn't matter. This is to me like it's like DC's Micronauts, like another series that is just so much better than it had any right to be. You know, it's like they got assigned some comic that nobody cared about, but they really cared about it. Jerry Conway, Luis Garcia, it's really good. I'm surprised how much I'm enjoying this. There's more. And I avoided this like the plague as a kid. AXA number 2. Hot barbarian chick in the future, doesn't want to live in the conformist bubble of technology. It's pretty good. I think it's an Italian comic strip rewritten by Chuck Dixon. Horace H. Hoover, number 3. I did this for Sunday Comics 2 weeks ago. I love this comic. This is available on HoraceHoover.com or HoraceHoover.com. I forget which one it is, but either one, you can check it out. There's 3 issues. They're all still available. I think $22 you can get all 3 issues. This Swamp Thing is one of my favorite comic book characters, and it's one of the most consistently good comic books. And I read all Swamp Thing up till this. So then I broke down and I thought I had all 10 issues. I only had number 1. I wouldn't have started reading it if I knew it was just number 1. So I put in the order for 2 to 9, and I'll give you my opinion. The art is fabulous. It's just something about it I didn't like. I'm preparing myself for the worst. That's it. My spidey sense is tingling. It was good, but I'm preparing myself for the worst. Before I continue, let's check out the comments. Do you like Big Bird or Oscar the Grouch? I like them both. I like Sesame Street. I like Electric Company better. That doesn't mean I dislike Sesame Street. I have a very strong fondness for Sesame Street. And there's some Sesame Street skits that are just classics. I love the Count. Such a great character. But I really do. I love Sesame Street. I love Frank Oz. I love the Muppets. But the Electric Company just seemed like it had like a little bit more of an edge to it, like Sesame Street was a bunch of like people that are like, no, it's for nursery school. We got to tone it down. Whereas the Electric Company were a bunch of stoners making, like, they were like a bunch of counterculture guys who just like, all right, we'll do this for now, and it had like a little bit like little edge to it. Poison Ivy homage character is Gardenia. She's a Jewish environmentalist. Like, what if Greta Thunberg was hot? Huh, you're asking me to imagine more than my ability to imagine. Greta Thunberg was hot. Come on, my imagination only goes so far. I'm in the huge minority, I know, but I grew up a Marvel fan, so my favorite villain still is Gorilla Grodd. I value intellect over flashy objects. I hated gorillas in comic books as a kid. If whatever we were supposed to like, I disliked. I was that kind of contrarian. I've grown to really like Gorilla Grodd to the point now I'm trying to work in a gorilla city type thing in Heroic Tales. And I think I finally figured it out. I think I figured out how I could have an homage to like Gorilla Grodd and all that stuff without it being a ripoff. The best Poison Ivy story was Hot House in Legend of the Dark Knight 40. She's played as a more psychological. Yeah, I like her as a scientist. I don't like her as like this wacky Daffy Duck fart character that she is now. It's just these DC should just call it a night. The Electric Company called him Spider-Man, John. He just never talked ever. Yeah, well, they called him Spidey. Spidey Super Stories. When he showed up, they yelled Spidey. I don't think they ever actually called him Spider-Man. He never talked. He talked in word balloons, and then they all looked up. But I might be wrong. But my recollection is they called him Spidey. That's not Spider-Man, because they thought Spider-Man was was a little too scary. That's a funny thing. When I was a little kid, when Spidey Super Stories were on, Spider-Man was scary. Kids were afraid of Spider-Man. Like, nowadays nobody's scared of Spider-Man, but little kids were scared of Spider-Man. That mask, I guess, was scary. I don't understand the name of the heroine comic is Punchline because the character's name is Versima. Where they even got the name It's funny that you mentioned that because Punchline breaks all my rules. Punchline breaks all of my superhero rules. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Okay. This is Versima. What the hell does the name mean? I asked Bill Williams, and he told me I had to ask the guy who actually made the character. Why is the comic called Punchline? And what are her powers? I don't know if they match anybody named Versima because I don't know what Versima means. And a costume is supposed to be simple and elegant. And this is just lines, breaks all the rules. But the writing is so good. I love the comic. Like I said, once you become a master, you can break the rules, but the rules are there for us people to follow. Legends of the Dark Knight. I'm out of the loop. Legends of the Dark Knight. Swamp Thing and Man Thing are my favorite comic characters. Yeah. I love Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, something about Swamp Thing just elevates the writing. I would be too intimidated to write a Swamp Thing story. There's just so much good stuff. The Martin Pascal run, we'd be talking about that if Alan Moore never showed up. The Len Wein run, it's so good. Okay. Magpie is a seductress and a thief who gets way more than she's bargained for. A real interesting character. I hope to do cool. I love hearing about people's original characters. Spidey talked in word bubbles. Yep. Electric Company was for kids and preteens. Sesame Street. Yes, you're right. You probably, yeah. I think Electric Company was for a little bit older, hence why I probably liked it more. And then there was another one called Zoom that my sister watched, and I was like, I don't get this. What about the Robot Gorilla? The Robot Gorilla is an homage to all of the gorilla characters that Oscar and I are working on for Eddie is Doomed. I love the Robot Gorilla. The premise of the Robot Gorilla is I picture I'm even making up the names of the fictional comic creators for Top Comics. And they're just like, what sells? And one of the guy goes, robots. And he goes, okay, robot. And another guy goes, gorillas. And he goes, Robot Gorilla. Robot Gorilla sells. And then now there's Robot Gorilla. Just like, what else? What are girls like? We got to get more girls. What are girls like? Girls like nurses. They're like cats. And the guy goes, Cat Nurse. So now there's a comic called Cat Nurse. My favorite Spider-Man villain was Green Goblin and Carnage. Spider-Man villain. I'm supposed to say Electro because he was an electrician, but I love Dr. Octopus. I just love Dr. Octopus. I love dumpy, short Dr. Octopus wearing like baggy. I don't like the slender, cool looking with a nice costume. I like the original. He looked like a 50-year-old man, I don't know. I love him. I also something about the Vulture I love. And then Sandman. What a cool power. I like the world burned. That was cool that he never talked. Yeah, because it was teaching you to read. Poison Ivy should be written as a person devoid of humanity, unable to understand human emotions. How can you trust a man in a mask? Punchline: a hero fights with jokes and makes her enemies laugh. Yeah, I have a comedian ripoff named the Punchline who like tells jokes that have to do with the fight, but I can't use them in Heroic Tales now because it's too similar to existing stuff. Maybe he'll make an appearance. Humor, it's not logical. Zoom contributed nothing to pop culture other than the Ubadoobie and the zip code 02134. Yeah, Herrenberg remembers all that. The Ubadoo, with that stupid hand gesture that my sister used to do. you make an old man remember things. My favorite Spider-Man villain is Kraven the Hunter. Well, that was a great story. That was a great story. I like those two because I felt sorry for the rest of his Spidey villains. I will say Spider-Man, Batman, and the Fantastic Four, I think, have the greatest rogues gallery of all comic books. Oh, the Lizard was not only my Spider villain, but one of my favorite Marvel characters. Of course, the Lizard. Kurt Connors, like, he doesn't remember. You can't just annihilate the Lizard because Pete was friends with Kurt. I'm always attracted to the monster villains of Spidey. Carrion. Oh my God, I was terrified of Carrion as a kid. I remember reading, like, how is he going to beat this guy? This guy's too powerful. That was a great villain. Zoom was definitely made for older sisters. That explains it then. Okay, so I'm all caught up. So this was Graham Nolan's giant-sized, two-fisted manly tales. This is Mike Golden on the cover, but it's not like his classic art. This kind of looks like Lagoon. I have to say I was disappointed with this. It just like, it was a bunch of stories that didn't, it's like they didn't have an arc. They were just like events. Like they just like news stories. And it's like, okay, where's the story? You just described what happened, but describing what happened wasn't a story. And I don't know. I just gotta say I was disappointed. Sorry, Graham. I got 2 Blackheart Valentines. I think I backed on 2 different formats. This is excellent. This is absolutely excellent. This is Bill Willingham writing, Bobby Diaz art, Bill Williams inking and lettering. These Blackheart is the Batman character in the Pantheon comic universe, and then he took out all the Blackheart stories and collected them. I cannot recommend this enough. This was Hunter Ninja Bear, Volume 1. I think this was supposed to be a 12-issue series, and then something happened, and they just made it a 300-page graphic novel. I really liked it. It's Chuck Dixon, Ruby, Hunter, and Noon. It's a bunch of ninjas getting attacked by a bear, but like the only thing is it's ninja clans, like when ninja on the out, so they're not admitting that they're ninjas, and the bear kills some of their family. Like are there bears in Japan? There must be bears in Japan, but like a grizzly bear is in Japan. So and they hunt in packs. So it's supernatural. It's supernatural without really claiming it's supernatural. That's the only thing that pulled me out of it. Was like it was really historical. And then they pulled in this like supernatural element, but then they go to America to get like a famous bear hunter to take out the bear. I liked it a lot. Really good art. Did you already know that there's already a Batman villainess named Magpie? She stole shiny things. Yeah, she also debuted in Batman villain. She had that horrible John Byrne, one of John Byrne's worst designs. Yeah. I like how in some cases Doctor Doom has a decent respect for the other members of the Fantastic Four while still being in bitter rivalry with the Fantastic. Yeah, that's one of those effects of being around for 50 years. You know, different writers put their different spin on. Sometimes he just hates and makes fun of Ben Grimm. Some he just dismisses Johnny Storm. Other times he admires their fighting. You know, it's just one of those long format storytelling uh tropes. What's the word? Things. Spider-Man is my favorite comic character ever. None of his villains are a favorite. I like a few more than others, but okay. I could see that. Two-Fisted Manly Tales was more vignettes than stories. That's a good way to. I think they kept it very short so the artists could get them out in a campaign time frame. Yeah, well, less said the better. You know, it was like getting a taste of dinner. Oh, that was. I don't get to finish that dinner. Oh, then you give me another dinner. Okay. Oh, that was good. I'd like to finish it. No. Yeah. Several Spider-Man villains seemed outright silly. Yeah, a lot of villains seems outright silly. So here is I'll put these in order. This is Sword of Sorcery. This is Faft the Barbarian and the Grey Mouser by Fritz Lieber, told in DC Comics. I think this is Roy Thomas and Howard Chaykin. And you know, it didn't last for a reason. It's not particularly good, but these are characters that I've always liked. Faft and Grey Mouser. What do you guys think? Is Sword and Sorcery is novels best for Sword and Sorcery? I mean, I like nowadays. I like Sword and Sorcery comics, and I'm missing number 5, so number 5 will be coming. Oh, and here are the rest of the Mighty Barbarians. Okay, so here is issue 3. I showed 2 at the beginning. So this is Cull fighting. Why can't I think of his name? But they fight and then they join the team. Like he starts out fighting them, gets respect for him, joins the team. And before superheroes, before it all stood, the Mighty Barbarians. And so Anastasia, Cull, I forget the rest of their names, Morgan Le Fay. And again, it was just like they talk like they're set in the modern world. And it just pulled me out of the storytelling. Anytime you pull somebody out of the storytelling, that's just bad. So I'm just going to put this like this. Push this over. So that's all the comics that I read since the last time I did What You're Reading. So as always, I will keep talking as long as the chat is there. And if anybody wants to come in and talk with me, Brian Herwenberg, anybody wants to come in, what is Dale A? How you doing, Dale? Two-Fisted Manly. Oh, I already said that. Yeah, there are actually about 10,000 black bears in Japan. Most of them live in Honshu. Yes, Honshu being the northernmost island, the sparsely populated island. I've fond memories of sword and sorcery books. Yeah, I avoided sword and sorcery books until like within like the past 5 years. Pretty much when I quit Marvel, I kind of expanded looking for other comics to read. One specific Marvel villain wasn't even a real character. Jim Shooter created Scourge just to eliminate several B-list villains across. Yeah. I remember that. That's cool. They made Faft and Grey Mouser comics in the free limit. We need more comics made of class. Yeah. Unfortunately, this wasn't the best. And it's not the only. I think there was a Walt Simonson version later on. It's a fine line between writing modern speech and fake Shakespeare. Well, they didn't even try to make fake Shakespeare. They were just like, like guy gets stabbed. The guy's like, that's going to leave a mark. That's the way they talked, that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? His tagline was awesome after he did the vigilante thing. Justice is served. I like Scourge. Yeah, yep, I remember those. No, Honshu is the main island. Hokkaido is the one that's north. Okay, where the Ainu mostly. So Honshu, okay. Hokkaido. I assume the bears would be on Hokkaido. So there's bears on the main island walking through Tokyo. And black bears are the small bears that like you can scare away if they're the same black bears that we have here in New York. So there you go. I got a bunch of people watching, so I'm gonna ask you guys an opinion. Leave it in the comments or whatever. I was thinking this. I was thinking of like the the character, the patriarch. He uses his power. He doesn't have a full-time job. His full-time job is being a father and a superhero. He doesn't. He's not a mild-mannered reporter or anything like that. And he uses his ability, like he'll find a ship, a treasure ship, like out in the Pacific Ocean, and he'll pull it up and take the treasure, salvage it. And he's been hired to retrieve satellites that are about to fall and things like that. So, he's pretty wealthy. He's got a lot of money. You don't know this, but his family's hiding for a reason. So he has a couple of public businesses under the name of the patriarch, one of which is he has a vineyard. He also has his family, his wife is Greek. They have olive oils, and he has patriarch wine, and he has patriarch olive oil and stuff like that. And all that money goes to charity. That's one thing we'll be talking. So he has like legit businesses that he hires people, and he's the CEO of companies, and and so I was thinking of that, like, in Arizona, like I was looking up, can you grow olives and grapes in Arizona? Are there vineyards in Arizona? Things like that. So I was thinking about that for the past couple of days. So then today I got this idea of, what if I was to make a comic, 10-page short story of the patriarch in his vineyard, and there's crop circles. So that he deals with crop circle, like he gets called to his vineyard. There's crop circles here, blah, 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 dealing with that. Just a 10-page patriarch story about his vineyard, and then go to a local vineyard and get a limited edition patriarch wine and sell it. So like I would have to get like at least 100 people, to buy. It's going to be expensive, limited edition bottle of wine, comic book, and I'll do like a campaign for that, of just like the comic, bottle of wine all together, and just one tier. You just buy the comic, buy the bottle of wine, and then maybe someday down the road reprint that short story in a collected, if I do Heroic Tales 1 to 6 kind of thing. What do you guys think of that? So while you're thinking of that, we got Heroinberg. How you doing?
Pretty good. A little cold here in Pittsburgh, but
Oh,
I'm
tell me
sure
about it.
colder. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so cold, man. Might be fun to visit, but I'm glad I do not live near that bear-infested country.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how 10,000 bears live on Honshu, but they do. That's what it says.
Hmm. And none of them live on Hokkaido?
No, there's no bears on Hokkaido at all. Even though it's a wild country, apparently the bears lived on Honshu and the two smaller islands, Shikoku and Kyushu, but they were almost all hunted to death there. So yeah,
Oh, okay. There you
and
go.
they crossed the land bridge 100,000 years ago during the, what do you call it, the Pleistocene age.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, I didn't even know there were bears in Japan, but
Yeah, I didn't know it either. I just thought it was like Chuck Dixon taking liberties until I looked it up.
yeah, lots of bears. Anyway,
So,
good idea for a story.
what am I doing? Okay. Uh,
So
Stop.
yeah, I
Yes, the
was,
patriarch is a less wealthy but good version of Adrian. Yeah, he's, other wealthy people have come up to him in his time and like sponsor this, sponsor that, and I only told one story, and he's in his 22nd year of being the patriarch. He has a lot of stories to tell. I have a lot of stories to tell about him especially when he was a rookie and a little bit more naive. He got taken advantage of, other, putting his name on products that he shouldn't have, kind of thing.
I was going to say, does he endorse products too as one of his streams of income?
Well, that's what he used to do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like now he got his powers when he was 22. He was a naive kid. I'm going to be talking about his origin, I think, in issue 4, and or issue 3, excuse me, and then
he grows up. Now he's been a superhero for 22 years. He's a professional at it. He's
So he's kind of like a Charlton Heston of like superheroes, kind of.
Yeah, like the Patriarch that you read in issue number 1 is a very experienced superhero who's been around. He's not the most powerful, but he's been around. There's only like 2 or 3 other superheroes that have been around longer than him at that point that haven't retired or killed or
well, I meant with his beard and everything, he literally kind of looks like a Moses.
Yeah. He's a patriarch, like from the Bible, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that. Like after a while, he was just like, I'm done endorsing your products. I'm gonna make. So he has like a vineyard. He has olive oil. He has other businesses that he owns, runs, hires people, fires people, but he doesn't take money from because he has his own money. He'll at one point he got hired to. The satellite's gonna fall. Could you take it or hold it so that we can repair it? Things like that.
So he has a vineyard, kind of like Jean-Luc Picard, huh?
Yeah. So I think that would be. I don't know if you heard, but I was thinking of doing a campaign. We're doing a short Patriarch story. I'll call it Patriarch Special number 1. 10 pages at first, unless stretch goals will be extra pages of him. He's going to get called to the vineyard because there's crop circles in his vineyard.
Oh.
I had this idea. I was like, oh, cool. And then I'm like, what if I call a local vineyard and see if I could get Patriarch wine made, like with my own label and stuff like that. But they said, it has to be X amount of bottles. Otherwise,
what was the minimum?
At least 100 bottles.
Oh, well, I mean, I know that, for example, the guys that run the convention here, Three Rivers Comic-Con, one of the 2 owners of the comic book chain is really into beer. And every year they make, they had a Don Simpson Megaton Man beer last year.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
That is.
And they must have made at least 100 bottles of the thing, at least. Yeah.
Oh man, that would be awesome to get a Patriarch beer.
Maybe approaching a craft brewery because of the scale of their production might be easier than a vineyard, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I talked to the vineyard today, and it's they already gave me a price for a minimum, and they're saying, of course, it'll be cheaper more. So I'm just throwing the idea out here because it's going to be like $2,000 to make this comic, $2,000. So I got to do at least $5,000, to make this happen.
It's pretty expensive to mail those heavy bottles and not have them break.
So I'm saying it's like one tier. It's like $50, comic book and a bottle of wine. Like, is anybody interested in that before I even pursue it? Because I didn't even write the script yet. I have the idea. I'm probably going to write the script because I like the idea. And I could always throw it into a later comic sooner or later. But so I'm asking people. I got 55 people watching. Is anybody interested in this? Is this something I should pursue? Because just to get it to the point where I make a campaign page is going to cost me some money. And I hate to say that, you turn everything into money, but it's that's the way it is. $2,000 just to make the comic. Does that include the art? Yeah. Renzo doesn't work for free. Oscar doesn't work for free. Bill doesn't work for free. Just to make the art. It's a 10-page comic is going to cost me about $2,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I'm not even talking about mailing it and printing it yet. So I'm talking a minimum of $5,000 to make a 10-page comic. And if I do $10,000, I'll make the story even bigger. I can't do nothing about the bottles. It's going to be a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It cost me around $2,200 to make each comic. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of trouble to ship alcohol. Yes, post office won't ship it. Everything will have to be UPS.
Oh boy.
UPS won't. They can ship. Although they said Congress just introduced legislation to change it so that you can ship alcohol through the mail, but it's not passed yet. So come on, Trump. Let's get booze across the country. And I don't know if I could send it to different countries. Canada. It's like $30 just to send a comic book to Canada. So Eric DeGuapo, this is what I'm talking about. Like maybe a short, limited run campaign of a 10-page Patriarch comic with a limited edition Patriarch wine from a local vineyard. So. I'm not a wine guy. One of my buddy Rich is one of those licensed wine taster guys. So I'm going to have him pick out the wine and everything like that. Cause not a wine guy, but I think it would be, I think this is fun. I already talked to Luke Stone. He said Fund My Comic has no problem with that. You know, I don't know if Kickstarter would allow it or Indiegogo would allow it, but Fund My Comic wouldn't.
There has to have been already a beer, like a comic book beer tier from somebody at some point, but I don't know if anyone's done wine.
I don't know, but only starving artists say it's not about the money. I wish I could say it's not about the money, but I'm a blue collar guy, and you know I gotta count for every penny, nickel, and dime. So this Wednesday, tomorrow at 8:30, I'm gonna have RJ from the Fourth Age. We're gonna do comic book team up, and we don't have a guest lined up. It's just gonna be RJ and I talking about plans for the year. So I'll be bringing this up again. But as far as me, comic book. Heroic Tales #2 is in the work. Oscar just sent me another page today. Oscar, did you get your pay? Just make sure. So Mary Sue is almost done. Renzo is drawing the Patriarch as we speak. As soon as we get like 5 or 6 pages done of the Patriarch, I talked to Kyle Prometheus. He's going to make a promo for it. We'll put up a campaign page. We'll get that going. And then the next is Eddie is Doomed. I don't know why I'm like keep it. I got Tonic Mole and Oscar chomping at the bit to start drawing that comic, and I'm just like tweaking with the script. I should stop tweaking and just go. And said that to him, and then I want to, if it's viable, if people want it, I'll do that the Patriarch wine campaign, and if everybody likes Eddie is Doomed, I want to do stories about the superhero characters in that comics. That's 2025. Like I would like to do 3 campaigns this year. So what does everybody think? And now enough about me. Heronberg, what do you have planned for this year?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we're still planning most of it out, as you might imagine, it being the cold months. But
tell me about it.
I do have 3 interesting things that I'm actually doing in January during the cold months. Ashcan might be an interesting idea.
I didn't think of that. See, this is the kind of thing that I like. People coming up with ideas.
Yeah,
it's a 10-page comic to start, but if stretch goals, I'll make it big. You know, it's got to be divisible by 4. So,
right, yeah. So I have 3 things. Number 1, we're bringing our superheroines and our comics and everybody from Comicsburg to the closing of the comic book exhibit here in Pittsburgh at the August Wilson Center. I told you about it before, called Collections in Black. It is a gigantic collection of a local collector who is basically an original art whale, and he has a whole bunch of original work by Black comic artists and Black comic characters. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun time there, and we're going to do the closing party for it.
Oh, cool.
You get to see some very good original art way back in the 30s and 40s, like a comic book about Joe Louis, for example.
Oh, cool.
Also some Image people like Larry Stroman and stuff like that. So we're going to do that on the 16th. And
where is this?
I'm sorry?
Where is this?
Oh, it is at the African American Museum downtown called It's called the August Wilson Center, named after the famous playwright from Pittsburgh who did all those.
Oh, so this is in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's downtown on the 16th of January. It's going to be really fun. And some of our actresses will be there, representing the series.
Savannah, my favorite.
Savannah will be there. Yes. Cool. Her first live appearance this year. Her name is Jasmine, the actress. And yeah, I'll tell her you said hi. And the other 2 things I'm doing is I'm reviving a character that I had 4 to 7 years ago on the videos and eventually in the next comic. It's very relevant to what's going on right now because I don't know if you heard, but the most Pittsburgh themed thing that's happening right now is how Biden blocked the Nippon Steel purchase of U.S. Steel, right? That was a big deal, right? Yeah. And so this is a character who's like steel powered and basically represents the steel industry of the city. Her name is Industria.
Okay.
And she wields power through a crowbar and she's super strong and she's kind of a bitch. So anyway, yeah. Oh, Stroman, Oscar said about Stroman, his art from the Tribe comic is up on the wall. The original art
Oh,
is up
cool.
on the wall in
I
part
don't
of
know
the
how
exhibit.
I ended up with 15 copies of Tribe #1.
Yeah, I mean, Strowman actually bragged that his
Matt, come on in, Matt.
when Strowman was in Pittsburgh a few months ago, he bragged that his comic was the only one by a black creator that sold 1 million copies, apparently, sometime in the 90s. Tribe #1. So, I mean,
I did my part.
it's kind of a big deal. You did your part. You bought 15 of them.
I don't know if I bought them. They ended up, I don't remember buying them.
They're not really worth anything, but the original art itself is quite impressive. So, anyway, that's the story, because some of them have like gold plating on them.
Let me ask you, in Pittsburgh, is French fries on salad, is that a thing over there?
Well, that is actually from a chain in Pittsburgh, which recently a chain restaurant which recently spread to Florida. By the way, it's called Primanti's, and it's basically I don't really like these sandwiches, but it's kind of iconic. It's another thing that begins with P, because remember our comic says pirates, penguins, and pierogies. So if you really wanted to, we could include Primanti's, but I didn't really feel like giving them free advertising. Anyway, the point of the sandwich is that it's some kind of meat, but it's also fries and coleslaw in the sandwich.
Some kind of meat. There's a sell.
Well, I mean, roast beef, whatever it is. Yeah. It's like the signature sandwich of Pittsburgh. Like for Philly, you have the cheesesteak, right?
Right.
But with the cheesesteak, you have a bunch of different Geno's and a bunch of different chains competing on that. In Pittsburgh, Primanti's has, a lock on this one sandwich, and they have a bunch of different restaurants here. So if you think of that's called a Primanti's sandwich.
For years, I've been watching my older brother put coleslaw on his hamburger, and I thought he was a crazy person, and now I love it.
It's coleslaw and fries. So apparently the point is, all the different tangy tastes. And I mean, the thing Logic's Finest says, I mean, there's two aspects to this. Yes, for national security purposes, speaking of our super villainous Industria, of course, the U.S. Steel shouldn't be owned by a Japanese company, because, both Trump and Biden, I guess, agree on this one thing. But on the other hand, there's a lot of corruption in the unions that kind of convinced Biden to make this happen. And the actual rank and file steelworkers in Pittsburgh, they wanted it to happen because they're all afraid that the mills will dry up and they'll lose their jobs if this cash infusion doesn't come in. And Nippon Steel also did make a lot of promises. So there's two sides to the story, and I can see, the merits of either argument. But ultimately, if you want to do America first, then basically you have to reject the deal.
We get steel at work, and it says "Made in India" stamped right out. I'm like, it's cheaper to make and ship from India than it is to get from Pittsburgh.
What was made in India?
The steel that we get at work. It says it's right on it, "Made in India."
Wow.
It's unbelievable. But anyway, we're talking comics.
Yeah, we are.
Matt, you want to come in? And Matt, am I allowed to talk about what you were telling me earlier about the comic you're working on?
Yeah, George Romero was a Pittsburgh kid, but the problem, I'm not saying he was a problem. Obviously, Night of the Living Dead is one of the most legendary things ever, but the problem with the George Romero legacy, it's not really a problem, but you got Tom Savini here, and he's very famous. There's even he lives down the street from me, Tom Savini does.
Oh, okay.
And there's literally like only 2 blocks from my house, there's a full-size mural on the side of a house of him and everything. So people really revere the Romero and Savini legacy here. But the problem with that is that 95% of all indie filmmakers here, they make horror flicks.
Well, it's the cheapest to make.
Well, yeah, but they're also kind of enveloped in that whole, Romero vein. And in other words, I don't have any competition making superhero movies in Pittsburgh because everybody else makes gore, essentially, like almost everyone else. And a lot of our actresses even act in those movies.
Horace H. Hoover, Fabrizio is from Pittsburgh.
Fabrizio?
Yeah, Fabrizio's the guy who makes Horace H. Hoover in this comic. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He's the one who told me about the fries on the salad.
I have no idea who he is. What's his last name?
Fabrizio Aiello.
Oh, Aiello. Oh, that's one of the famous pizza parlors here. Aiello's.
Oh, maybe he owns, maybe it's, but this is his
He
comic.
might
Horace
be.
Horace H. Hoover. It's set in New York, but his butt is set in Pittsburgh.
I had no idea. I'm gonna have to track him down and see if he's actually
Yeah, he goes to conventions.
related to the pizza family. I've never seen him at a con, so
And
this
my
is very
niece just
interesting.
went to
Thanks
the
for the
University
information.
of Pittsburgh, and now she met her boyfriend, and she's staying out there. She's living out there.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been to Pittsburgh since I was a.
Fabrizio Aiello. I'm gonna have to look that up.
The World Trade Center was built with steel from Canadian company because Bethlehem Steel couldn't supply the buildings. However, American Steel should be, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get politics.
Yeah, it's very complicated, that whole
Yeah.
thing. There's even another company involved called Cleveland Cliffs, which tried to buy U.S. Steel and was rebuked because they didn't give a high enough price. Anyway, it's really complicated.
Yeah. Okay, so any comics that you read now that you enjoy? And I'm sorry, you sent me. No, I forget if you sent me or if I bought. What doesn't matter. But I got Heroenberg #4.
You do have it.
I literally got it like 2 days before my accident.
Yeah, I'm
And then,
sorry about that, man.
Yeah, you had nothing to. Yeah, I looked at your comic and drove into a tree. No, you had nothing to do with that. It's around here someplace. And what's driving me nuts is, I'm sure you can understand, it's with my copy of Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos #1, first appearance of Nick Fury. So in the back room over there is just comics all over the place. Because
So you'll have to find it. I understand. Okay.
my wife wouldn't let me sort and move boxes around when I had the neck brace on.
Well, as I said, what I was reading very lately was I waited for almost for a year to this because it was a year late. The Empowered #12, and finally picked it up at my LCS, and just going through it right
It's
now.
not a crowdfunded comic. You could buy it in a regular store.
Yeah. It's on Dark Horse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been on Dark Horse the whole time. It's just that it's almost a year late from when it was supposed to come out. It kept being pushed back and back, and it's probably going to be the last Empowered thing he does for a long time. I'm not sure why that is, but he did write a long essay about it. So anyway, yeah, I'm enjoying that. And the other thing, the most recent crowdfunded comic I got was Phenomenova, Von Coleman's book.
Oh, okay.
And apparently he's he just launched
I already backed #2.
Yeah, I'm about to back it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I backed Vaughn's book. He's a good guy.
He is.
I met him a few times. We went out to dinner a few times. I've been going through comics by Mobius. I love Mobius. It is unique. It's striking. He's awesome. I have in Heroic Tales, I have the politics of space and different planets, and you'll see that there's some planets that are inspired by Mobius. At least I hope you see. I read Silver Surfer Parable once a year. Yeah, that is the Stan Lee Mobius 2-issue series. I think that was what introduced me to Mobius, and
Mobius is awesome. I have a suggestion for Logic's Finest and for you if neither of you have seen this. Unfortunately, this was a cartoon, a very intricate and artistic cartoon that only lasted for a year. It came out last year. It's a series, sci-fi series, but it's called Scavenger's Reign.
Never heard of it.
Well, Scavenger's Reign, REIGN. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it is very much. It's not drawn by Mobius, of course, but it reminds me so much of Mobius than anything else I've ever seen. And it has world building of like really, really crazy and interesting alien creatures. So if you like Mobius, you will definitely like the animated series Scavenger's Reign. Unfortunately, it only lasted one season. I'm not sure why they canceled it, but anyway.
Oscar likes it.
Oh, Oscar knows. Yeah, see,
it's on Max.
It's on Max. Yeah, it's one of the best cartoons I've seen in the past 10 years. Just mind blowing.
Speaking of cartoons, I just rewatched the Venture Brothers. That is my favorite cartoon, I think, of all time. I love the Venture Brothers. I'm trying to get Fabrizio Aiello and Brian Bow to watch it. I watched it up till halfway through season 6, and I forgot why I stopped. I think season 6 did a break, and there was like a large gap between the second half. So I just lost it. So then I sat down and I rewatched it from episode 1, finished episode 7. I just got to watch the movie conclusion, Baboon's Blood and whatever, Monkey Heart. But it's on Max, and I don't have Max, so I gotta get Max just so I can watch the last Venture Brothers. Then I want to buy it all on DVD and have it because I love the Venture Brothers. If you are a comic book fan and a cartoon fan, you will love the Venture Brothers. It is so good. It's funny that you said Akira. I was hanging out with Fabrizio Aiello after Comic-Con, and we went into this weird bar. It's so funny how, like, when I was into bars, it was all bikers and everything like that. Now I go to a bar and it's all video games and anime on the walls. I'm like, wow, bars cater to nerds now. And they had Akira playing. So I just got a drink and I just sat down in the corner and watched like the last 40 minutes of Akira. It's just sitting in a bar. It was really weird. I forgot how good it was. And that animation still holds up. Anybody want to pop in? Matt, where are you, Matt?
Oh, sorry, muted for a second.
Oh, it's okay. And if anybody wants to pop in.
Woo.
And so what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I don't have anybody scheduled at 7. Tomorrow at 8:30, it's Comic Book Team Up. It's RJ and I. And we're pretty much just going to talk about our plans for the year. So a lot of rehashing from this. Thursday. What do I have Thursday?
You have a clobbering time this week?
Yes. Thursday, I have nothing scheduled. So what I'm going to do at 7 o'clock on Thursday is I'm going to do a back issue bonanza because I got 2 boxes of back issues that I just bought. So I'll show them. So today, these are comics that I just read. Thursday, I'll talk about comics that I just bought. And then Friday, I have Blackwell. I think he does role-playing stuff. And then at 8, so that's 7 o'clock. And then about 8:30, we'll do it's clobbering time. It's going to be Magneto versus the Metal Men. Sunday, I have Sunday Comics, but I didn't pick anything yet. And then I'm back to schedule. I didn't schedule a lot of people because of the holidays. But you know what I really want to do for it's clobbering time? I want to do Jonah Hex. And I keep thinking Jonah Hex versus the Punisher. Because I just read a lot of Jonah Hex. Clobber time, Magneto versus the Metal Men. Yes. And K. Ojo talks. I picture him to be like a robot who talks in emojis. So issue number 4 of Heroinberg. How do I get Heroinberg? How do people get Heroinberg if they're interested in buying them or watching the show?
Our newest issue, which is hidden somewhere in your house, is
it's in this room somewhere.
Yeah, number 4, and people can just go to heroinberg.com and look at the drop down where it says comic 1 through 4. They're $10 a piece through the mail, but if you buy all 4, I will probably refund you a little bit of your money through PayPal just to be a nice guy.
There you go.
So,
and how do you watch
$40? I'll probably send me 40. I'll probably refund you, 5. Anyway, yeah. So if you like, if you like George Perez, John Byrne, if you like Jason Wright, who is our cover artist and works for DC Comics a lot, he in fact colored the Metal Men 2 years ago, then you will like what we have to offer. We're also, of course, a lot like FemForce, which John is aware of.
Yeah, that's what introduced us. You like my video.
And of course, Flair and Champions too, Dennis Maloney's book. Yeah.
Do you get this at all?
Oh, well, I saw that originally. So when I signed on, I saw you had the Penthouse, and I thought you were reading from the old ones from the 90s, which are quite politically incorrect. And, they have Hurricane and Misadventure and Johnny. Right. All those things.
It's big booby superhero girls is what I want from.
Well, yeah, you know who does that right now, like pretty much perfectly. Clint Hilinski.
Yeah, Clint.
His style is exactly like 90s. Arthur Sidem, whatever that stuff. Adam Hughes, 90s Penthouse comics. That's what his stuff looks like. And,
that's what I thought this was. But this is just progressive, identity politics nonsense.
I blocked that out of my mind. Like a couple months ago, I was in the LCS where I bought Empowered, and I noticed, there's a new Penthouse. They revived the thing, and then they said, and then the guy behind the counter said, "Yeah, here, check it out." And then I looked at it and I was like, there is no superheroes in here. And half of the stuff in here looks like suspiciously woke. Yep. And I don't even know What company
there's
even
hardly any-
revived that?
You open up to any random page, there's no nudity. It's Penthouse Comics,
Yeah.
and then
What-
and then
what-
they have
What company revived it anyway? Because
and then they have like a layout of these just horribly ugly girls covered with tattoos. They're just gross. It's just gross.
the sides of their heads are maybe shaved too. I don't know, something like that.
And then an interview with Amaranth. Like I care about that.
Amaranth, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some dudes get thirsty.
Like I care about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just like a cosplayer on Twitch or who, she's a thirst trap, essentially.
If she's the definition of a fool and their money are soon parted.
I would say so.
Yeah. So I got nothing else to say, guys. It's almost 9 o'clock. I gotta get ready for bed. I go to bed at 9:30. And anybody have it? Yeah. Yes, her. Anybody have anything to say? I'm gonna shut it down.
Good night, folks.
Good night, folks. Thanks a lot for stopping in. That was my What You're Reading. As you can see, I had a bunch of stuff that I read since the last time I did one of these. I'll do a back issue bonanza. That means what older comics have I been buying? And then I also have my monthly visitor, which is the new comics that come in once a month. So I'll save that probably for Saturday night. So thanks a lot, guys. I'm gonna get to bed. It's just so freaking cold. I don't want to go to work. It's just so cold. Sign my petition. Sydney Sweeney is Power Girl. That's a no-brainer. Sydney Sweeney should be. If they make a Power Girl movie and they don't have Sydney Sweeney, then let's boycott it. I read Goodyeing earlier. Mac Barron sent me a copy of Goodyeing. I'll read it. It's right over here. It's underneath the Tin Soldier. Best regards. Thank you. Good night, all, and to all the bears in Hokkaido. And that's a good way to say goodbye. So good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.